Hey, what's up? It's Devin. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is Magic Sucks. At least that's why I think Magic sucks right now. Um, I'm entitling this as the first part of the series. This one's in going after what I like to call "you must be fun at parties" syndrome. Um, this has to do with kind of like the busybody mentality that it seems like Wizards of the Coast, at least the corporate side of the company, has. Or it's like like the that kind of thing that drives me insane. And first, I want to bring up a few things before I get into this topic. So, to get going, I know a lot of other YouTubers or Magic the Gathering, TCG YouTubers have been talking about negativity and how everyone's negative right now. And I just want you to go into the bathroom, go look in the mirror, because that's you. That is everybody. Anybody I've heard talk about negative YouTubers, that's you. You are the negative YouTuber. You're calling yourself out. I don't know why you're doing that. It's okay to be negative about something when something sucks, okay? And right now, the state that Magic the Gathering is, it sucks. From my opinion, my perspective, how I engage with the game, it sucks. It's in the worst place it's ever been, and I'm not happy with it. And it's okay to be negative about something, especially when you're coming at it from a critical perspective in order to, what I would think, make it better for myself, you know? I can get other people's perspectives, and if right now the current like state of the game is what you love and you think everything's great, you know, I can empathize with that. I have empathy. I'm able to do that, but we engage with the game differently. Okay, so that right off the start, there's that difference there. Also, me titling this "Magic Sucks" it might be hyperbolic, but that's how I feel. Babe, ask me how I feel about Magic. Magic sucks. Okay, that's how I feel. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for asking me that. But it's not hyperbolic. It's just the normal. It's your normal bolic is what that is, because that's how I feel. Magic sucks. Um, so the B you must be fun at party syndrome is this thing that Magic tends to do, where they tend to go overboard on things. And Wizards, Hasbro's, they do this with whatever they do. They take it to max. They take it way too far to the other side, and then they pull back. But there's no really signs of them pulling back at this current moment. Like, so let's talk about the first or the signs of this thing that like I agree with, like that totally are on the correct side. We have Invoke Prejudice. It's a card that literally has what looks to be a KKK member guy with an axe on it. Like that probably shouldn't be in Magic, and I can totally understand Wizards of the Coast axing that card. It should not be a part of the product. It's it's going to bring horrible feelings to people. We can all agree on that. And then going up from there, you know, we have like Earthbind. It's with any of this stuff, I like to think about it like, if you can explain it to me like very quickly, and somebody who's reasonable can understand it and go along with it, then it makes sense. So let's say with the Revoke Prejudice, we have some racist connotations with this card. We don't want it involved with our game. 100% fine. I don't need to know anything about the artist. All you have to show is it's called Invoke Prejudice. It has this picture on it. We don't want it in the game. That's all I need. I don't even need to know about the guy, which there's even more bullshit behind that if you look into that further. And then we go to Earthbind, you know, and it's like, okay, well, we have this, it's a fairy, and she's bound up in a semi-sexual bondage kind of way. And we know we don't want that in the game anymore. And for someone like me, I'm like, well, I kind of like edgier stuff. This is kind of edgy. It doesn't seem too far out of the realm. You know, but then you come back and you're like, well, this is a game for kids, and we don't really want to have, you know, that's 13 and up. And if we have 13-year-olds playing this game, we don't really want to have sexual bondage fairies in it. And I'm going to go, okay, yeah, I guess I can see your point there. And so I can go along with that. But then we move up to the last one that was come through, or the one before this, is tribal. We're no longer using the word tribal. We're using the word typal now. So we no longer describe, there's not a human tribe, there's not a fairy tribe. The word tribal is no longer being used. And for me, I'm like, isn't tribal something that every human, anybody who you are, you go far enough back in your ancestry, you're going to be a part of a tribe. A tribe is it's a human element. Nobody can just claim tribes. And and being like, we're going to take this out because it could be deemed offensive, it doesn't really make sense to me. But this is one of those things where it's like you get to choose it. And it's like, if you feel uncomfortable using the word tribal and you want to use the word typal because it makes you feel more comfortable, that's okay. But I don't want to have this weird connotation from you busybodies that if I use the word tribal, that somehow I'm being offensive to somebody. That's it's way over bounds. And even bringing that up, and this is kind of the issue with it at all, is that it's not necessarily that these things even take effect, because like Wizards of the Coast can't control whether I use the word tribal or not, but just that we're having this conversation is annoying. And you must be fun at parties. That's exactly what it is. I don't want to have this conversation. This is a stupid conversation. And for them to constantly be bringing stuff up like this, when it's like, yes, we understand on one side, to get to like, I'm not really sure about it, to like moving even farther into the next layer where we go on, where Witches of the Coast has decided to stop using witch. You can't use witch now, like witch as in a sorceress. Like I guess we can't say witch now. We just use sorceress because witch is somehow offensive. Like how is like we're in a game of witches and wizards? It's Magic the Gathering. You do realize that magic in and of itself is offensive to people. And there's no one sect of witches out there. It's just not fucking the Salem witch trials anymore. We're not back in the 1700s hunting down witches. Witches have come a far way. People like witches. Witches are popular. Like, is Sabrina the Teenage Witch now somehow offensive to people? I don't really get that. And to even be talking about this is stupid. And you must be fun at parties. I don't want to be. Hey, this is the point when I have my drink at the party that I'm like, well, my cup is empty when it's not, and I'm going to go to the other side of the party and get away from you because you're bringing up dumb shit, and I don't want to talk about it. And so we're not using witches anymore, which is it's like, okay, if that's how you feel about it, but it's just I don't want to associate with this. This is just so silly. It's silly, and if there are witches out there being offended by it, I'd be more offended that now, as a witch, I'm excluded from the game. So wizards get to stay in the game, but witches get excluded? So how is that fair? You think that, like, as a witch, like, you don't want to see your representation in the game? So that's completely stupid, annoying as hell. And then we're moving on, and this is what brought up this whole conversation in this first part series of my TED Talk, is that now they're having this conversation about shamans and druids. Ugh, it's the same dumb shit. Nobody lays claim to shamans and druids. I would totally understand if we had a creature type that was a Catholic priest and altar boy. If those were creature types, I would understand how people might get offended. But shamans, there's all sorts of different types of shamans out there. There's all types of different kinds of druids out there. No one can say, like, oh, and anybody could really be a shaman or a druid. Here's the deal. If we're having this problem, maybe we need to look at, like, what's causing the sensitivity here. If we need to look at the art and we need to be like, okay, we failed. We were too stereotypical. We were not giving this the reverence that it needs. If that's the case, and we need to be more reverent and more not goofy about stuff, and we're like not being appropriate with things, sure, that makes sense. But as far as I know, I feel like at least I haven't seen anything that's been like poking fun or being offensive towards all the shamans, druids, and witches that we have out there. Like, I think this is just one of those things, like I said, like none of this really matters. It's not really important, but just knowing that there's people in this company who are running it, who are like having these conversations and trying to bring it up to the rest of us like this is normal. It's like, I don't want to associate with you. I don't want to be a part of this conversation. I don't think that it's fun. I don't think that it brings the game any sort of value. I feel like it's almost exclusionary in a certain sense, and I don't want to think about it. It's so fucking stupid. And okay, if you're a shaman, a druid, or a witch, and you want to get in the comments and tell me how I'm wrong, and you can do it really quickly, and you don't have to give me a 1,000-page textbook where I have to change my philosophical point of view in order to understand what you're talking about, then I'm happy to read it, and I'm happy to change my mind. I'm an open-minded person. I just think this is silly. So being that this is how Magic sucks right now, the first part of why Magic sucks, I feel like it's always good to have some like criticisms or like some what we can do about this. And what I feel like we could do about this is when it comes to like leadership, I feel like we need a change in leadership, and I don't mean that like people need to get fired or people need to lose their jobs. And side note on this, it's funny when you hear Rudy talking about how he wants to buy Hasbro and he's gonna he's gonna raise everybody up from the bottom and they're gonna take over and it's gonna be this groundswell of public support for Rudy taking over. It's like I feel like it's gonna be less popular for the Hasbro Wizards employees for Rudy to take over than it is for Elon Musk taking over Twitter. And I think he'd be in for a very rude awakening from the culture within that company for having some crazy capitalists like Rudy involved. It's just funny when I hear him talk about that. So bringing up a change in leadership, I think a change in leadership I'm not saying fire anybody. I think that's really shitty. Anybody coming after anybody's job is a horrible person. These people have families. I don't hate anybody for having these thoughts or these points of view. And if you want to have these conversations with your friends, that's fine. Anything like that, I'm not saying the change in leadership needs to either come externally, where we need to have an adult in the room, where somebody's like, "Hey guys, we shouldn't be wasting our time on these dumb, divisive, annoying topics that piss everyone off. We need to have an adult in the room who says, "Hey, no." We're not going to go through with just whatever single random person on Twitter has to say. We're not going to do that. We need the adult in the room to stop what's going on. Or we can have an internal change of leadership where maybe leadership listens to some feedback. Maybe they don't surround themselves by these echo chambers or bubbles where everybody agrees with them all the time so that they have these crazy, weird thoughts in their head and then all of a sudden think that's a normal thing for people to think. So hopefully that there's some sort of change in leadership. So those are just hopes and dreams. But here's what you can do. Here's what you can do to make Magic not suck anymore. And that's, you're at this party. All these people, they're not being fun at this party. You must be fun at parties. You're not fun at parties. Why are you hanging out with all these people? Currently, right now, you see that I still buy Magic the Gathering products, but how I feel about it is I have snuck off into a room with some similar people like me, and we're listening to Pink Floyd, or we're watching the light show. We're not paying attention to what's going on inside the rest of the party. But sometimes we hear echoes from the people in the party, and they're like, "You have to talk like this. You have to be like this," and it gets annoying sometimes, and I don't want to deal with it. But I'm doing my own thing in the party itself. But I think the best thing to do is just go out the window, sneak out the front door, just don't even say goodbye. Go to a new party. There's so many parties out there, and I guarantee if you feel any sort of way like me, there's other places for you to go. There's other things for you to do. Flesh and Blood is awesome. Grand Archive is awesome. Lorcana is awesome. I hear One Piece is awesome. I'm not going to say Digimon's awesome. I mean, I played it a little bit. I don't really like the security and all that, but you might love Digimon. I love Digimon as a franchise, so give it a try. But just leave the party. If you're annoyed, go somewhere else. And you know what? This is what's going to be like I said, like what you need to educate people or get things across. It can't be like a big textbook, a long YouTube video like I'm making right now. It's got to be something that someone understands in a sentence. And I think this is like the best thing would be an economic education for the leadership within Hasbro Wizards. And that's when they see that people aren't buying their shit anymore. And you can do that by finding a new game, doing something else. And it's not to get rid of Magic or Magic's dying. Nobody's saying Magic's dying. That is a complete bullshit thing to say. And if you're saying that I'm saying that, then you're completely wrong. I just want Magic to change. And I want it to change a little bit. Just a little bit. And this is one of the factors. This is, when it comes to like the layers of why Magic sucks, this is like the salt and pepper on top of the suck sandwich that is Magic the Gathering currently. So just the salt and pepper. I want to get more of the bread, the meat, tomatoes, the lettuce, the whatever. We'll get into that later. I just want to start off because this is a relevant conversation. And I just hope like conversations like this, like silly ones, you can have any sort of conversation you want. But this coming from leadership, I think we need better leadership, or at least somebody to be like, "Hey guys, let's pump the brakes. Let's chill. Let's have fun at this party." So anyways, that's my thought for today on why Magic sucks, and hopefully one day it will be not sucky. So thank you for listening. Have a great day.